In this week's episode, we're going to be discussing the importance of trapping.
Mossy Oak Properties, where outdoorsmen find their favorite place.
Got a question for you.
Shoot.
It's early February, and when I say the word steel, what comes to mind? Reference hunting and habitat and wildlife.
Oh, one of our favorite things, and that's just starting up some chainsaws.
Steel chainsaws, but there is another type of steel that is equally as important in our world. Laying it in the ground. Trapping.
I see where you're going.
Steel and trapping.
Yes.
And that's what this video is about. We're going to discuss the importance of trapping, why you should do it, why you should support it, and the benefits that come along with using steel.
Yeah, that's right. We don't usually, think of, when you think conservation and management, we think of the things that can makes us successful. Harvesting whitetail deer. Let's just use deer for example.
Right.
So we'll chainsaw, we'll use fire, we'll put up, we'll spend time doing this and that just for that one opportunity.
Yeah.
To harvest a whitetail deer. But when there's other wildlife species that's involved, whether there's turkeys, the turkey populations, I wouldn't say dramatically decreasing all over the country because it's still good pockets of population, but the narrative is that the population is decreasing a little bit.
Sure.
And then you have grouse, then you have other songbirds and the ground nesting birds that all part of the natural ecosystem of where you hunt whitetail deer.
Yeah.
It's one thing, the tool in the management toolbox that we seem to leave out, and the reason why, there is answers of why we don't. Yeah. Some of it is that it's unfamiliar with it. You've never done it before.
Right.
Or you might not even agree with it.
Yeah.
Okay? So there's a lot of reasons why that tool in the management toolbox is not being used.
Yeah, trapping, unfortunately so, in the hunting community is a divisive and a touchy subject.
It is.
And some people argue that it's the best thing that you can do, and in some cases it is. Some people argue that it's completely useless and you don't need to trap and it's all about habitat.
Yep, that's true.
That can be true in some situations. There's no complete, absolute answer, but it's controlling populations, and you said it really well. Trapping has its place, not even for trapping coyotes or bobcats or foxes, because we know that those predators prey on our game species. They raid turkey nests, they eat turkey poults, grouse chicks, quail chicks, fawns. Even the non-game birds, as you mentioned, ground nesting birds, meadowlarks. I can't imagine a summer night and not hearing a whippoorwill. A whippoorwill's a ground nesting bird. Your raccoons and possums, they're nest raiders. Trapping, if you like whippoorwills, you should maybe consider supporting trapping.
Yeah, you could pick a ground nesting bird species and you should support trapping.
Right.
But notice that we're not necessarily saying that you should go out there and do it.
Right.
We mentioned twice, support.
Yes.
Yes. So supporting the use, that management tool of trapping. And it's today, as Cody mentioned, trapping, even within the conservation community, the sportsmen, the consumption community, trapping, pick a subject, turkeys, can be very divisive. There's like a team habitat versus team trapping.
Right.
And one of our dear friends said it the best: if you have the property and means to trap, then you trap. If you have the property and means to put habitat in, you put habitat in. Every single one of us has a role. You don't have to do both.
Right.
We all depend on one another, and that is what's important when it comes to trapping.
Yeah.
And using that management tool.
Absolutely. There are some situations where trapping is necessary.
Yes.
Honestly, and as we mentioned, trapping can increase your fawn recruitment if you're managing your property specifically for whitetail deer. If you have too many bobcats or coyotes especially, trapping and well-timed trapping can increase fawn recruitment, give those fawns, they don't need a couple weeks before they can outrun a predator. Well-timed trapping can help your deer hunting and increase deer numbers. But not just deer, obviously. Our next most popular, perhaps, game species in our neck of the woods, wild turkeys.
Yeah, the wild turkey. That right there seems to be the growing trend. People are starting to become more aware in the outdoor community that, trapping does have benefits,
right,
along with habitat.
Yeah.
We always make that clear.
For sure.
But, research is starting to come out, showing that, the turkeys, the people that use bait, and the turkeys that those hens are using that bait station and nesting fairly close to that bait station. What else uses that bait? Raccoons.
Yeah.
And those nests are getting raided because of the increase of raccoons on that bait station, the people that bait kind of on a long-term scale.
Yeah.
So, raccoons, depends on who you talk to, raid so many nests. Several coons can raid a nest a day, is what, that's what people are talking about. And there's more research coming out, more and more. Is it raccoons? Is it skunks? Is it possums? Is it feral cats? Is it this? That's, making a dent in the population. But in the meantime, we should be supporting trapping, putting the quality habitat in, and once again, is propping up those people that are actually doing it, because trapping, the art of trapping, is decreasing throughout the country. I know my state of Ohio, the population of people is not that, it's like 7,000. Do not quote me on that, but it's under 10.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Virginia might be up a little bit, more of a traditional thing. But the trapping generation is what? It's older.
Yeah.
It's an older generational type thing. It's wasn't passed down because of, it's one of those things that you have to get up in the morning, you got to check once a day, you got to get in your car, and you're wasting gas for a quarter cent of large coon, or 50 cents or 75 cents. The fur market's not the best.
Yeah.
But those diehards get out there. So it's not attractive to kids. But that's why we should prop up those people. We shouldn't be fighting amongst ourselves, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The hunting community, our hunting lifestyle, we become more under fire every single day from people who disagree with our lifestyle and what we enjoy doing and what we're passionate about. There's really no place for bickering or divisiveness under the same roof. If you hunt and don't have the means, you can still support trapping. If you're team habitat and don't want to trap yourself, or it's not your thing, or you don't know how, you can still be all in on what you do while still supporting trapping. And on the other side of that, you can be hardcore trapper, trap every single day, and then support the other side of that, people who are pro habitat. So all under the same roof, we need to support everybody within our own community.
And those, kind of switching gears here, for those of you that have never done it, have always been curious about it, trust me, there is somebody out there that is willing, believe me, willing to teach you and show you the trapping ways, if you will, the Jeremiah Johnson type thing,
Yeah.
I know Cody and I recently started dabbling in it, and I can't believe we're not rich by all the fur we caught, right? This is easy, Why does everyone complain that it's hard? No, it is so much fun. And it was like, when we first put our first set out, it was like, this is cool.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those things you had no idea about. But again, there are people out there, and just like anything else in the outdoor industry or world, you just get on this thing called YouTube and you will flood it with a bunch of people willing to teach you the ABCs, 1, 2, 3s of it all, and then some. But that leads me to the next thing, is when you do get involved in that, or do you see one of your friends trapping, make sure that it is tasteful.
Yeah.
Make sure that it's not anything graphic, because there's people out there ready and willing to take that management tool out of our toolbox.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And if you were to ask me 5 years ago that February 2024 I'd be laying steel on my property trying to trap predators, I'd probably looked at you sideways, because that wasn't even on my radar at the time. I supported it. I love to watch people who do it well because it's such an art form, but it was way out. It wasn't even on my radar, like I said. But now that I've gotten into it just a little bit, it's opened my mind to even more that I can do as part of this outdoor lifestyle.
Yeah.
Especially if deer hunting or turkey, whatever species that you prefer to manage or hunt for, you're limited to that season for pursuing that species, or this time of year where you manage habitat for them. Learn something new. I mean, I'm so new to this, but setting the traps, it's such an art form, and trappers who trap well are so skilled. I know very little about foxes and bobcats and coyotes. The more I get into it, the more I'm going to learn about their behavior, how weather influences how they move, their biology. It just opens another chapter and allows us so many more opportunities to learn about wildlife.
Yeah, and you know what? It's just like everything in management world. When you have a healthy habitat, food, cover, water on your property, you have those. The wildlife is attracted to it.
Yeah.
And we treat predators as this thing that's just an inconvenience on our property.
Yeah.
They are part of the ecosystem. They are every single one of them, from the coyote, the bobcat, the fox,
Right.
Whatever, the chupacabras, out there. You know what? Every one of them is important because if we don't, we'd have meadow voles running everywhere.
Right.
If we would have over surplus of white-tailed deer, the fawn recruitment. It's great. Killing a fawn that's blasphemy, but it's okay. And what have you. Turkeys are set up for predators killing them. So don't treat them like they're the plague. They are part, but just like everything else, whether it's a white-tailed deer, turkeys, anything that we use for game, that can be too much. We just have to manage, and trapping is a management tool that, please do not be afraid of it, and there are plenty of resources out there to get involved in it.
Mossy Oak Properties, where outdoorsmen find their favorite place.